Hi everybody, today we're going to do lesson 3 page 3, and this activity is going to involve quotes, block quotes and spans. Okay, a lot of these are actually fairly obvious. So the Q is going to be a quote, the tag which is called block quote is obviously the block quote, and the same for span. So let's jump into the code and see what's going on. Okay, now we have two files here. Now these files are almost identical. Actually, my files are identical. The ones that you'll see changes which I do in this video. And if I open up this file, you'll be able to see what it looks like. And I'm going to close that, go back and open up the block elements 2, and as you can see they're both exactly the same. What I'm going to do is make this Internet Explorer a little bit thinner so that I will be able to open up the code at the same time, and we can start playing around and seeing how this works. So I'm going to open this with Notepad as usual, minimize my Windows Explorer so that I can see both. Alright, now here let's start looking at the code. We've got our HTML and head and the various title. Then we have our style type. So this is where we hold our CSS within the header. Here is our end of style, so it's gone back to HTML. And further down the page we have the HTML tags and sentences, etc. inside, and images. Okay, so let's go back to the CSS because that's what we're most interested in this particular lesson. Alright, we have a function which is going to address the entire body. That's the opening part of the function. Here's the closing, the curly brackets are closed, and we've got the border which is goes right around. It is 30 pixels in size. We can see the border here, and it's a solid dark red. We've got a background color which this is in the RGB format, which has got the hash which goes in front of every color, and the first two digits is R for red, second two digits is G for green, and the third two digits are B for blue. That's RGB. That's how TVs and monitors work, I guess. And being that they're just all straight sevens, gives us this lovely nice grey. And also we have a margin of 100 px, which is going to be part of that area. Okay, the next function is a function which will affect multiple aspects of the page. We have down in the page a paragraph, an image, an H1 header, the heading one, here it is. We have a div, which is a short for divide, and so this is our div. It's just a small box inside the page at the moment. We have the bold, which is a bold tag, which is here. We've got the emphasis, which is the M tag. And then we have a quote and a block quote and a span, which is just slightly off the bottom of the page, which is there. Now, affecting all of those is a multiple function which we've written here. So this function is going to affect what we do inside this function, which is the background color is going to be light green, and the border is going to be a 1 pixel solid black border, and that's going to be applied to all the paragraphs, all the images, all the H1s, and all the divs, and all the Bs and the EMs and the block quotes and so forth. All of those different types of tags are going to be given this information, or this information is going to be applied to it. So we can see that our quote is not part of that list. And so if we decided to put the, and so because of that, you will see that the quote doesn't have a green background. If we decided to put the quote in there as well, and we're just going to go and save that, then refresh it. Now, as you have just watching, it suddenly gets a green background because this information is applied to it as well. So I'm going to take it off, and what I'm going to do inside the quote function, which is this is only going to affect the quotes, I'm going to give this a background color. Notice it's spelled US spelling. This was invented in America, and I'm going to give it a nice pink. I'm going to use the RGB formats because you've got so much more control. So 0 being the lowest, all zeros is black, and F being the highest number is because it's hex, so all F will be white. So I'm going to give a nice maybe an A for fairly high red, and then say 9999 for the blues and the greens and blues, and let's see what that looks like. So we'll save that, go to a refresh, and we've got a purpley color. Okay, so that's fine. And you can see now that the light green has been applied to all of those tags, and the purpley color in this case is just to the quote tag. Alright, now I have inside the folder a file which is this CSS cheat sheet. Now you can look this up on W3 Schools, or you can look it up here. Now if you go to W3 Schools, it's got little boxes where you can experiment and type in, whereas this is just a list, but that's fine. And you can see all of the different types of different things that you can apply to various HTML tags. And so if we were going to do a coloring the font, then probably you would be looking at I'm just trying to find it now. Probably that one. Anyway, I'll let you experiment with that because that's what I need you to do for activity to change the font. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the font size. I'm going to use this one here, and so I've decided that this H1, even though H1 is nice, I wanted a great big huge big H1. So even though I've got H1 here, I'm going to make another function just for H1, and so H1 is going to be a lucky tag because it's going to have two functions, which is applying things to it. It's quite okay to have more than one. And I'm going to have font size, give it a colon to, it's kind of like the equal sign in HTML, and I'm going to go say, make it really big, 72, semicolon to finish it. Now I'll go and save, and let's go and refresh our web page, and as you can see, the heading now is even though it's an H1 heading, it is way bigger than what H1 normally is, because that's 72 point. Alright, well, I'm going to now save that, and when you download this as part of the lesson, you will be able to see this, and part of your exercise is to tell me the difference of what's been done between the first block elements and the block elements 2, the one that we've just been modifying, and explain to me what I've just explained to you. Also, in activity 2, if you could use your same block element 2 and change the font color, and modify, have fun, modify the whole thing to suit your favorite sporting colors. And if you can't get the exact color, look, that's fine. It's just, we're really just experimenting and having a bit of fun with it. Alright, see how you go.